All right, so I promised to keep you guys up to date on all things Cyberpunk. So here we are. Check out the headline right here. It says new Cyberpunk mystery DLC privately tested. Looks like CD Projekt Red held a test for some sort of Cyberpunk DLC. We're going to dive into that in just a moment. I know a lot of you guys are dying for free DLC on top of the upcoming update and expansion. So hopefully this means really good news about that. And we're going to be talking about Cyberpunk Edgerunners release date. It has finally been revealed. And we have a new controversy that has been stirred up in the Cyberpunk community. What does it mean for Cyberpunk? We're going to talk about that one as well. And what can a Cyberpunk sequel learn from Deus Ex? We're going to be diving into a new article giving some interesting thoughts on this matter. I'm sure many of you might find those controversial as well. Plus, we have critical feedback from a fan that has played Cyberpunk 2077 for more than 2,000 hours. So I really do think it's worth listening to this feedback and feedback from the community as a whole as to what you guys want next from Cyberpunk. But you know what? Check this out right here. All right, so I need to tell you about this amazing open world game I recently stumbled upon. It is called Star Trek Fleet Command. It's a free-to-play open world MMO game which allows you to explore strange new worlds, seek out new life and new civilizations, recruit iconic officers like James T. Kirk, Spock, and Nero, and build powerful iconic ships from the Star Trek universe. It's time to boldly go where no one has gone before. So join millions of players right now by clicking the link at the top of this video's description to download Star Trek Fleet Command for free. Be sure to download through the Amazon App Store, and if you don't have the Amazon App Store, I highly recommend downloading it right now. It's a great way to save money while getting your hands on truly amazing games. For example, with Star Trek Fleet Command, through the Amazon App Store, you can save up to 20% on in-app Star Trek Fleet Command purchases. Use Amazon coins to push your savings even further on other apps, games, and in-app items. I love how many choices Star Trek Fleet Command offers, by the way. Yes, you can even join alliances with other players to tackle the impossible and even upgrade your base. Want to fully customize your ship's loadout? You can do that too. The game also rewards you with new ship blueprints and much more. And one thing I love about this game is how big it is. It's truly open world with tons of missions to keep you busy. Through your adventure, you will uncover an ancient secret that will change everything forever. The galaxy's on the brink of war and you have endless choices ahead of you, so join millions of players right now by clicking the link at the top of this video's description to download Star Trek Fleet Command for free. Again, I highly recommend downloading through the Amazon App Store, and if you don't have the Amazon App Store, be sure to download it right now. It's a great way to save money while getting your hands on truly amazing games, like Star Trek Fleet Command. So check it out. All right, so back to the Cyberpunk news update. Check this out right here. Some sort of mystery DLC has been privately tested, it seems, by CD Projekt Red. We gotta find the proof though. Where's the proof, Robbie? So if we go to the Cyberpunk Steam database and we go underneath the DLC section, we can see right here that there was a Cyberpunk 2077 test run 2 months ago. This was completely missed and it's for an unknown app. Now, there could be a lot of speculation as to what this could be, but it is noteworthy that it is under the downloadable content section for Cyberpunk 2077 on the Steam database. This could be a private test, of course, for the expansion. It could be private testing for update 1.6, or it could be private testing for upcoming free DLC, which, by the way, CD Projekt Red has been completely quiet about anything free DLC, and I want to know more about that in particular. My assumption, my speculation is that I'm hoping they release a bunch of free DLC with the next free update, which would be either known as update 1.6, update 1.8. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Let me know what you guys would like to see from Cyberpunk 2077 when it comes to free DLC. Try to be realistic, of course, but sound off in the comments down below. Now let's talk about Cyberpunk Edgerunners. It's the upcoming anime Netflix TV series for Cyberpunk 2077. It's related to it, of course. But check it out. We have a release date. Let's get into the release date because I know a lot of you guys are dying to know what that is. So this is what the article goes on to say. It says Cyberpunk Edgerunners will release on Netflix on September 13th with the official website for the series confirming as such, while featuring new artwork from the upcoming anime series that will further take viewers into the world of Night City from the CD Projekt game. Do you guys want to see the artwork? Because I know I do. I am so hyped for this. You have no idea. Check it out right here. Here is the new artwork and a sneak peek into what we can expect from Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Cannot freaking wait. Honestly, I would like to eventually see a Cyberpunk live action version like we got with The Witcher, which would probably be super expensive, of course, but man, wouldn't that be really, really cool to see like live action for Cyberpunk 2077 on Netflix. All right, so let's get into this controversial subject. It doesn't seem controversial at first, but trust me, as we dive into this rabbit hole, it turns into quite the discussion right here. Check it out. It says this: did you know that Cyberpunk 2077 has the second most positive reviews for any single player game on Steam? Only The Witcher 3 has more, with over 620k. Fallout 4 has only 230k. So we got to get into the proof here, of course, of this. And he's specifically speaking about, by the way, you got to remember, single player games only that don't have any type of multiplayer component. So here's Cyberpunk's numbers right here. If we zoom it in, we have 392,000 roughly positive reviews for the game, which is exceptional and a lot. But this definitely stirred up some controversy within the Cyberpunk community. Let's get into the replies here. We have this one from Adventurous Bell837, who says, doesn't work like that, brother. If the game has 50 million negative reviews and 10 million positive reviews, it might be the game with the most positive reviews, but only 1/5 of people voted positive, while the 4/5 of the votes were negative. It says 75% of positive reviews is quite low on Steam. Most games on the bestsellers page has more than 90%. Also, many games have more than that. Let me know if you guys agree with this or not. He definitely has his own opinion there, but we have this reply right here, which made me laugh. It says right here, data does not lie. So I myself would definitely give this game a positive rating out on Steam, by the way. I'm just saying. Then we have the reply here, says, except there isn't any data for rankings shown on the screen. And 75% is more on the low end for Steam for popular games. Best-selling Steam games have only have over 90%. You got to remember that Cyberpunk never used to sit even at like 75%. It used to be absolutely horrible. So I'm actually like, wow, 75% positive upvotes is actually really, really good, as you could see right here. Look at that smiley face. It's like, check that out. But yeah, could it be more in the future? I think the expansion could potentially bump those numbers up. And if they nail down update 1.6, that number's only going to go up, in my opinion. Now, we also have some other controversies related to these numbers, because check this out right here. It says this: it does when they spent weeks after launch purging negative feedback. And then we have this response: any proof of them purging negative feedback? And I do remember there was a lot of controversy going around how they were handling Steam reviews and that sort of thing. And there were headlines like Cyberpunk is being review bombed yet again. And also you have to remember there were issues around this time right here. Cyberpunk, Steam hides new Cyberpunk reviews as pro-Russia gamers review bomb the game. So yeah, a lot of controversial stuff happening, and it seemed like Steam had to take certain measures to ensure that the numbers were, according to them, accurate. But again, that's extremely controversial, removing any sort of negative reviews. But yeah, let me know how you guys would vote for Cyberpunk at this point in the game after update 1.52. But yeah, I think update 1.6 should definitely be interesting. Now, finally, this argument was ended, in my opinion, by one singular post. And I love this right here. And you should carry this attitude, in my opinion, over to other games. Check it out right here. It says the following from Administrative Bed 395: people always fighting over the best game. Just play them while you are arguing over perspectives. Stats are stats, still won't change opinions on an early released fictitious game. Take that how you wish. Arguing is pointless. And then it goes on to say, just in case the message gets misconstrued, original poster was stating a fact. If stats like these change your opinions on a game, you're expecting more than any game's player base can provide. We all started somewhere different with games, could argue for the rest of eternity as long as game developers exist. Exactly. In other words, enjoy what you enjoy. If you like the game and someone else doesn't, who cares? Just enjoy it for, you know, what you enjoy. That's how I am. I remember growing up on certain games and everyone hated them around me, and I was like, I love that game. I really don't care what you think. I enjoy that game. So yeah, that's just my opinion on that. Now, let's get into this topic right here. It goes on to say this: what a Cyberpunk sequel can learn from Deus Ex. And it says as a sub-headline, Cyberpunk was criticized for its empty open world, so CD Projekt Red should take inspiration from the world of Deus Ex for potential sequels. Yeah, saying that it's empty at this point, you know, I guess some people would agree with that assessment, but I think that they have somewhat improved it, and they definitely could flesh out it a lot more. Like, I hope they actually do that. Open up interiors, have more world activities, that sort of thing is what I'm looking at. But let's see what they had to say about comparing it to Deus Ex. This one is going to be controversial. I want to hear your opinion if you agree or disagree with this one. Goes on to say this: a Cyberpunk sequel can go smaller scale like Deus Ex. So this article is basically suggesting that Cyberpunk doesn't have to be so big. It doesn't have to be so massive. It can actually scale down and be more of an intimate experience, and it makes the game better. Check out what the article has to say right here. It says, while Cyberpunk was meant to be a massive open world game, CD Projekt Red would be wise to take inspiration from the smaller scale Deus Ex games for future sequels. While most Deus Ex titles take players on a globe-trotting cyberpunk adventure, each individual level is typically a relatively small and self-contained area. This allows developers to pack each level with exquisite detail, and each area can be tailor-made to suit any playstyle. Now, I want to say something real fast before we continue. I think Cyberpunk has the detail. That's not the issue. It's just, you know, when it comes to world events and making particular areas of the game like Pacifica feel alive, that's where I have the problem. But when we're talking about actual fidelity in the world itself, I don't think that's the issue at all. In fact, I think Night City is by far one of the most detailed open worlds we've ever seen, if not one of the best in that regard. Furthermore, it says this right here: the Night City map featured in Cyberpunk felt empty and artificial, which was a major disappointment to fans, and switching to multiple smaller regions like The Witcher could help CD Projekt Red flesh out its sci-fi world. Now, I do get where they're coming from in some ways. When I think of a game that did this really, really well, that was Metro Exodus. I absolutely adore that game, and even some of the more recent Tomb Raider games had this like kind of hub space feel to it. I think it works for certain games for sure, especially if a developer is just starting out in the AAA open world space. In my personal opinion, they should always start out with a Metro Exodus, Deus Ex type experience so they don't overwhelm themselves as developers and they don't screw up their game. That's just my opinion. But in this case with Cyberpunk, what they have here is an amazing base, an amazing foundation that they could just build off of currently. If I had it my way and I was like running CD Projekt Red, I would say this. I would say have a crew dedicated to this game no matter what up until release of Cyberpunk 2. No matter what. Even if they're switching over to Unreal Engine 5 for their other projects like The Witcher and Cyberpunk 2, they need people on this game, in my opinion, up until Cyberpunk 2 releases. That means 5+ years or even more. So I really, really wish that they would actually do that sort of thing, because right now, as you can clearly see, the city is absolutely beautiful. They just need to keep continuously building upon what they have already built. Now, the article furthermore goes on to say this one right here: the Deus Ex titles are considered some of the best Cyberpunk games on the market, and the franchise's excellent world design is a big part of that success. By creating multiple small areas rather than one massive open world, developers are able to make each section of Deus Ex extremely detailed and wholly unique. Considering the big empty Night City featured in Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red should take inspiration from the original Cyberpunk gaming series for any sequels. Now, I will say if they did actually do this, you would probably get more variety in terms of, level design. But I will say Cyberpunk even succeeds there. You know, you have the nomad area, you know, the deserts, the wasteland. You have Chinatown in the game. You have Arasaka. It's very varied, I guess you would say, in this game. And I think Night City to this day is just one of the most beautiful cities in the world. So I kind of actually disagree with this statement when it comes to Cyberpunk in particular, but I do get where they're coming from in certain regards, because Deus Ex, man, it has the detail and it feels great. Mankind Divided, another, opinion on that one. A lot of you guys feel like wasn't fully completed either, but Human Revolution for me was absolutely amazing. All right, so let's get into this one right here. Check it out. It says, my suggestions for Cyberpunk after 2,300 hours and 19 playthroughs. We have got to listen to this opinion. So let's get into this one. This is going to be interesting. This comes from Stephen Lamar. He says, an option to reset all of the NCPD things on the map so they can be done over and over as many times as you want. And I don't care about the loot. It's the sneaking and clearing area. That is the fun part. Yeah, I would love to see this as well. And I think it should still be randomized and varied. So even if it does reset and there's new NCPD events popping up in the same area, it should be like a different event. It shouldn't be the same all the time. They should have a rotation of 5 different events in one area, if that makes sense to everyone. But goes on to say this as well. He says the following: a new game plus. I'm a hardcore gamer, which means I will play a game over and over again for 2,000 hours, and I never get bored, especially on games like Cyberpunk, since it has so many choices that you don't get to try them all unless you delete your save, and doing that makes you lose a lot of hard work. Yeah, hopefully that does come. I think it's coming eventually. An event on the map like Beast and Me, only you get to race real players and try to run them off the road to win first place. About racing real players, I'm not too concerned about them adding multiplayer elements into the game. That would be cool to maybe have some sort of ghost time trial thing perhaps, but for me personally, I would like more difficulty settings for races and actual race AI. Like they should hire someone that's actually worked on racing games, because that was totally underdeveloped in my opinion. I was very bummed that they don't have more races in this game, because it would be amazing. Furthermore, he says this, an event on the map. Oh, oops, sorry. It's number 4. More cars to buy since I love collecting. Absolutely. We need car customization. Yes, he does mention that. And new areas to explore, of course. And then one of the requested features, transmog. Which transmog appears to be most definitely coming based on the teases from CD Projekt Red. So hopefully we see that one with update 1.6. That's going to be, my assessment and speculation with that one. We will have to wait and see. But yeah, give your feedback. What would you guys like to see in Cyberpunk 2077? Please be sure to sound off in the comments down below. All right. So now it's time to go over your top comments from my most recent Cyberpunk video. So let's go ahead and dive into that one. That one was about update 1.6. So if you did miss it, check it out. Here it is. It says, Cyberpunk Update 1.6, the brutal truth revealed. CD Projekt Red on updates and expansion. In this video, I basically explain why it is taking so very long for Update 1.6 to release, why it's taking them forever to get to the expansion, and there is actually legit good reason. I hate to say it, but there's actual reasons for that. Check out the video, but let's see what you guys had to say about this one. And we have a comment here from I Make Video Games. He says, I think it was best that adding multiplayer was canceled largely due to the inherent task involved in transforming the single-player oriented code to something network capable. Hint, unless the game was inherently coded with some of the form of network structure, you will more or less have to rewrite the entire game. The guys behind a hat in the Time noted this as well. And he has a lot of other opinions here. It says, so depending on the size of the project, you could have had either a sequel with multiplayer already baked into the project, or could have had 2 or 3 major expansions for the same cost of adding multiplayer to the current game. Yeah. And it says, then we're taking into account who is behind adding multiplayer. Is a new team? How long will be with the onboarding process? All this stuff that you absolutely have to consider with adding multiplayer, especially in Red Engine 2, or I believe it's Red Engine 2. That's the big problem. I don't believe it was actually meant for multiplayer whatsoever. It sounds like it is an absolute pain, and that's why they want to work with Epic Games. They have that relationship that they have developed with that for multiplayer. Epic Games, they're experts at multiplayer. And now CD Projekt Red, they don't have to really worry about developing an entire multiplayer engine on top of what they already developed with the single player open world. So yeah, it would make it extra complicated. Next up, we have this comment right here. Let me zoom this in. I I don't know how to say this. Vasta Fel Omen. He says, here's what I want. New game plus gang reputation system. Yes, please. Make world feel alive. Car customization, new weapons, new and better clothing, transmog police wanted system. These right here for me and the police wanted system are like on the top of my list. And then car customization. New weapons also would be cool, but for me, I just really want these all worked on the gang. Police wanted system, and then car customization, that sort of thing would be cool. Now it says real street racing, 3 large story expansions, expand life paths at the beginning, third person option. Likely not to get even half of that, but maybe for Cyberpunk 2. But had we got this from the beginning, I think this game would have been historic. Oh, you're gonna make me cry. For the right reasons. Yeah, you know, man, that just hurts when you say that. I just always imagine what Cyberpunk could have been, how there could have been a game that actually potentially would have taken on GTA 5. You know, that's the dream for a company to release a game that can go toe-to-toe with GTA 5. That would be absolutely amazing. All right, so we have this comment here. 325 upvotes, NFT leader. Not every game needs to be multiplayer. Cyberpunk always felt more like a single-player game to me. If it were multiplayer at launch, perhaps I would feel differently, but yeah, single-player only for Cyberpunk. And guess what? I agree 100%. If it never gets multiplayer, I'll be happy. Like, I'll know that the team is more devoted to adding single player content to the game. That's just how I view it. If it does get multiplayer, I just hope that it's, you know, co-op. But right now, I'm going to say this. I don't think Cyberpunk 2077 will ever get any type of multiplayer. Again, for multiple reasons, mainly because they partnered with Epic Games for that. But anyway, we have this one from Nelson, who says avoiding overhype is more about setting accurate expectations for your game, not just being quiet about it. Be clear what's an actual feature and what's just a cutscene. Don't just tell us everything you see might change. Tell us what changed and what we're actually bringing. When you see that, by the way, everything you see might change. They're not doing that for us. They're just doing that for legal reasons. So if they end up in a courtroom, well, we put that little disclaimer there. We said that's why they do it, honestly. But I totally agree with you. They seem to be working towards a better goal here when it comes to marketing their upcoming game. So when we see The Witcher 4, they have stated that they're going to be marketing these upcoming games more properly, and you're going to be seeing actual gameplay footage in a working engine. It's not going to be, you know, prototype, at least according to what they have actually said to both investors and us. So yeah, that's kind of good that they have taken that feedback for sure. And I think it's why we haven't heard a lot from CD Projekt Red lately. And by the way, check this out. And remember to join millions of players right now and download Star Trek Fleet Command, the free-to-play open-world MMO game, by clicking the link at the top of this video's description. Again, I highly recommend downloading through the Amazon App Store, and if you don't have the Amazon App Store, be sure to download it right now. It's a great way to save money while getting your hands on truly amazing games like Star Trek Fleet Command. Check it out. All right, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned for more Cyberpunk, open world gaming goodness, and much more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.